When the seller first contacts you, do you have any tips to make sure that you reach the close? I've experienced when they say they'll call you back or they'll think about it, then you never hear from them again. John, I would say if they say they're going to think about whether they want to sell their property to you and they don't call you back, they're not motivated. The only question you really need answered on that initial call with the seller when they respond to you is like, why are you selling? And try to identify if they're motivated, because otherwise they're not. So just move on. That's why I send extra mail. I send more mail than I think I need because I don't want to worry about those, moving on to the next one. It's just a numbers game, really. I hope that helps you. That comes down to just understanding, who your seller is. And then let's see, Brian Bennett, need to find buyers. Yeah, Brian, I would always post my properties on the MLS, on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist, everywhere that you can actually get in front of people searching for property for sale. That's how I find my buyers. Just get it online, get in front of the traffic. That's what I would say. Okay. All right, John Lee, do you have any tips about finding the balance between scrubbing the list to get down to the exact type of deal you're looking for, or having more leads to mail to for a better chance of reaching a motivated buyer? Yeah, that does make sense, John. I send more. I just send more. In my course, I actually have the specific filters that I recommend that you use for scrubbing down your list. So that's one option. You can check out my course, but yeah, the short answer to your question is send more mail. Okay. Juan Museb says, how do you determine the offer amount if you want to mail 500 blind offers a week? Well, what I do is I personally created a template, a comps template, to help me take a look at the comps in the area to come up with an offer price. And that of course is available in my course, but all you really need to do is just research all the different property websites. So you've got, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, those types of websites. And then you pull down all the competitive information. You look at property that's sold recently in that area, and you put it in your spreadsheet, and you try to come up with an average price per acre. And then I take the average price per acre, and then I take 25% of that, and then I apply it to the number of acres for each property. It is a little bit of a process, but that's basically the way I think about it, and that's all you need to do. You just have to sit down and do it. All right. Hope that helps. So we're talking about acquisitions today. So as much as possible, post your questions about acquisitions. And I do see a couple of these questions are coming in through the private messages. So I'll check those in just a second. And okay, so Rhonda Gordon is asking, in DataTree, how do you filter by distressed seller? You must be filtering by something else, right? No, I'm not. Some people do say filter by tax delinquent or out of state. I don't do any of that. No, I send it to everyone. I send it to everyone that meets my criteria. And the distressed seller finds me. When they get my offer and they see the price, they call me and say, I need to sell. I'd love to take your offer. Okay, I hope that helps. I do not do tax delinquent. I don't filter it by that. I don't filter it by anything else. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Okay, John Lee, again, you got some questions for me. It says, it seems that the larger lots have people that are more aware of the value of their property. For example, if you have 40 acres, people are less likely to take 25% of its retail value. I understand that you're going after the higher value deals, but those tend to have owners that are more savvy. No, I think that's a misconception, John. I don't think that's true. I mean, maybe 25% is too low on 40 acres, but I still send 25% because, again, I'm looking for a motivated seller. I'm looking for a distressed seller, a non-wanter who just wants to get rid of it, doesn't want to pay the taxes anymore, inherited, doesn't know what to do with it. Maybe they don't live in the same state, but that is really the most important part. Okay, Kenneth Dumas says, what advice you have with cash investors with the market being crazy? what advice? I would send more mail. I mean, the market's crazy. People are moving out of town. They're moving out. I'm doing rural vacant land. So my advice is send more mail, do more deals. Do more deals while the market's crazy. I've never seen it this good. What advice you have with cash investors? I don't really know what you mean by what advice for cash investors. I'm not sure. So if you want to put another question in and make it more clear, I'll try to answer it for you. Christian Flory, do you send a purchase agreement with your mailer? And if so, they sign it and you're locked into that before you do your due diligence. Okay, great question, Christian. Yes, it's a 2-page blind offer letter with a purchase agreement. So the second page is the purchase agreement. It has the amount I'm willing to pay on it. They sign it and send it back to me. Now, when it comes back to me, I immediately go check it. I go say, okay, does this have road access? Is it, are they taking a good, they're obviously taking my good price. Does it have any special attributes? Those are the kind of things kind of from a high level that I'm checking. And if it looks good and I think I can sell it for 4 times the price, I'll sign it and send it back to them. And then I'll call them and be like, hey, thank you for your agreement. I just emailed it back. And then can I ask you a few questions about the property? And then things that weren't obvious to me, or even if they are, I'll just ask them about. So I had one this morning, I called back and it was 7 acres in the middle of this great neighborhood that had been fully developed. And this had power lines running through it. So obviously it was the power line easement for the area. I got the purchase agreement back, and before I signed it, I called him and I said, hey, can I even build on this property? And he said, no, you can't build on it. You can put greenhouses on it. You can farm on it. You have animals, but no structures because of the power lines. So I'm not sure if I'm going to sign and send that one back or not. I'm still trying to decide. I guess I could market it to recreational, buyers. I'll probably end up doing it that way. All right, hope that helps. But you're not locked in before doing your due diligence, because really all that is a contract that says we have an agreement that I want to buy and you want to sell. This is the price, and there's a closing date on it. The closing date is the date you will actually be obligated to close. Okay, so you go through a title company for that because we do the higher profit, higher dollar value deals. Okay, hope that helps. Let's see, more questions coming in. Okay, Nishant said, hope I didn't destroy your name. He said, if you're just starting out and have a decent amount of cash to start, how would you go about it? Oh gosh, I mean, I would send mail. I mean, that's what I do. I would send a lot of mail. I would send out a little bit of mail every week. I would make sure it's consistent, and I would plan it out for 30 or 60 days in advance. And I would go about getting my business set up and get ready to start taking deals. You can also fund other people's deals. I don't know how much money you have, but if you want to tell people that have deals that you'll help them fund it, it's a great way to find partnerships, great way to multiply your money quickly, and you don't have to send the mail. You could partner with someone else who's sending the mail. It's kind of up to you. Okay, Rhonda, so you never follow up via phone calls. I just send mailers and wait for them to call. And do you send mailers to the same address or a few weeks later? Okay, I've heard this question. That's a great question, Rhonda. Yes, I follow up on phone call, but not to the mail. I did just, in our mastermind yesterday, I just had one person tell me that, he accidentally overpriced his mailer. And so he sent these letters to people and they were coming back like, yeah, I'll sell it for that price. And then he's looking at it going, oops, I messed up. So instead of just saying that's a wasted mailer, he actually skip traced that whole list. And then he started calling and texting them. I never do that because I'm just way too lazy for that, but he did get a deal or two out of it. So I'm just letting you know that's an option. Some people have time, some people have money. To get more of one, you need to give up the other. So it's just up to you how you want to spend your time. I don't want to spend my time that way, but that is a valid option. But yes, I always follow up with a phone call once I get a signed agreement. I always talk to the seller, because I want to make sure that we're in agreement, that we both understand each other and what the expectations are and when they're going to hear from me again and that kind of thing. All right, Nicholas Lee asks, what happens when you do your due diligence and the price you offered no longer works? How do you renegotiate? Oh, Nicholas, boy, this has happened to me a few times. So I have this one story about a property that I went in and when it was time to buy it, I was like, look, I know I offered you 50,000, but I'm only going to pay you 25. And he took the deal. And the reason he took it was because I said, well, when I did my due diligence, I realized most of the property is in a floodplain because there's a creek there and it does rise quite a bit. It has power lines overhead, so there's an easement for power lines overhead of the property. There's also an easement for gas lines underneath the property. Okay. Typically, I'm told that that road leading to the property is private, even though I still don't agree that that was a private road. But anyway, um, those are just a few of the reasons. And then I went back and said, this is not a typical property. I can't just pay you what I offered to begin with. I have to go in lower because this piece of property is crap. I mean, really, but he knew it was. He knew it was. He probably thought he was getting such a great deal initially. And this was after 6 months. I had done 6 months of due diligence. I've been trying to sell it. I was getting feedback from people. And so I finally found a buyer, but the price was low. So I had to go back to the seller and be like, look, I can still buy it, but half the price. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you, Nicholas, is just you need to have a good reason why you're dropping the price. You can't just say, oh, I messed it up. You kind of have to go, well, this, or this. You really only need one reason, but at the end of the day, you really don't even need a reason. I mean, you can just say, look, I reevaluated this. I think I sent it out too high. It's really where I need to be is a little bit lower. I had one like that yesterday. The price I originally sent was like 60,000, and when I got it back, I was like, oh shoot, that was too high. And so I called him back and I was like, sorry, the best price I can offer is 35,000. And then I am divorcing myself from the outcome. So no matter what they say, it's great. Hope you have a good day. Talk to you later. You just have to let it go. You have to keep going. I hope that answered your question. LaRon Mitchell, it would be cool if you went live making a few calls and reviewing. Oh, that would be cool. What a great idea. Now, I do have recordings of calls in my course, so that is available. But I like the idea of doing that live. I don't know I have to look into how I could get away with doing that. That would be really cool. I'm going to take a note of that. So let me know if you need help getting your land investing business moving forward, and you can do this and I will help you. So just reach out to me by posting a question on this page or send me a private message or just email Chris at landflipping101.com. And thanks for joining me. Bye.